So before we were together, what were your biggest challenges you were facing in dating, and how were they affecting your confidence, energy, and just life quality in general?
Yeah, so we met back in 2018 or something. The first time we ever met was that year.
20, 2019, yeah, we met for the first time.
Yeah, so back then, I mean, I was already involved in cold approach and, working on social skills, improving that area. But everything I was learning and applying with relationships with women, also with people in general, was coming from like this very technical approach, like trying to control people too much, apply like thousands of techniques, and many times kind of trying to pretend someone who you are not, in order to some way or another get their approval, And yeah, that trigger in some situations like certain lack of confidence, like kind of having a persona or like in some social situations I could be confident and fluently, like uh, with good social skills. But then it was not like stable confidence. It was more like a character, like a fake persona, kind of. And everything I was learning kind of about social skills, it was about like, adding things to your, like adding layers and layers in your personality, which eventually it makes you not convey yourself in an authentic way, kind of, And that also, yeah, made my confidence not be as stable as I would like back then. And those were, yeah, challenges. And also like the fact of going up to meet girls and everything, it was like big thing. It's like big effort mentally, not like something natural to me, but like shit, this big effort now, like big challenge, and I need to be in a good mood, and I need to be like in a situation where I'm ready to do it. And it was like a kind of a big deal. And then it was crazy when I met you because you were like the most natural, chill, good vibe person I've ever met. When socializing, not with girls, but like with any person, any people, kind of people. And I was impressed by that. Like, bro, this guy has something I don't have. Like in his personality, in his aura, and like the way he communicates, the way people react to him, the way like girls reacted to you when I met you back then, and I was like, wow. And he's not trying that hard. He's like, he doesn't give a fuck. He's just like enjoying the moment. He's present to the moment. Like I'm there like in the bar or like in the nightclub, like just like playing mind games. Like trying to make things complicated and like putting a lot of effort. And yeah, I was getting like some results, but it was not in the way I would like to. It was not like being someone confident. It was like kind of trying too hard. And yeah, those was a bit the situation in dating. And yeah, I was having some experiences, but I want to take my confidence and results to the next level. So I saw you in person. I saw you were like one of the best people I ever seen on the game. And of course, I was like, okay, I need to learn from this guy, basically.
Cool. Thank you for the kind words. So, how were you feeling during that period when you were not really satisfied with your dating skills, let's say? And you also mentioned situational confidence. Like, what were the negative emotions you were experiencing, or the mental chatter that you were having when you were in these situations when you wanted to meet women, but you were not really meeting them yet, or not in the way that you wanted to?
Yeah, it's frustrating, because it's kind of is. I remember, for example, when I was going out or something, I had to do like maybe like if I'm going out to for a night for meeting like girls or like social skills practice whatever. Oh, and of course I don't drink any alcohol, so it was like maybe I need to do like 10-minute meditation. I need to get in a comfortable mental state to like make the first move. And it's kind of, or maybe you need to kind of talk to many people until you get in a comfortable mental state to start communicating like fluently and to be like natural. And it was, yeah, that's exactly the word you use, situational confidence. That was the kind of things it was like, it was frustrating to me because in some situations I was like, yeah, I'm the best, I'm super confident and like great, I can speak to anyone. But so many other situations, maybe I was like alone, not with friends, or maybe in the, I don't know, in the train station, or like in a way where there's more people in front of me, or like I can feel more fear or fear of judgment or like fear of rejection, kind of. And it was, yeah, it's frustrating, because it's like, I used to have this kind of dream in my head. It was like, bro, I wish the day that comes that I can go in the street anywhere, anytime, and I can talk to anyone without overthinking anything, without needing to be like prepared or something, you know. So yeah, probably was frustration in that sense. And let me check the word in Spanish. The word it's impotencia. In English, it's called impotence, I guess. Yeah, impotence. Like you want to do something, you know, or you want to be someone,
Incompetent.
you want to be someone, but there's something holding you back sometimes, and it's all mental.
Yeah.
It's like it's not something that okay, it's like some object you take it out. It's like it's just in your fucking mind, you know, and it's so frustrating because of that reason, kind of, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. That's very, very nice to share those vulnerable emotions. So, what eventually made you decide it was time to seek help and hire me as your coach and to guide you to the process of becoming the version that you wanted to become? Like, what exactly made you say, okay, I'm going to do it now and not later? That you would push it over to, like, okay, it's something I'm going to do in a year or maybe in 5 years? Or what made you say, okay, I want to do this now in this period because you took three boot camps over a period of 3 years? So, what exactly happened there that you were so decisive to, okay, was it something negative, something positive, or what exactly happened there that you just went for it?
Well, I hate not getting the things I want. You know, I don't like not getting my goals. You know, so um, also time is limited in life, so we're all gonna die. You know, so it was like, okay, what the fuck are you gonna spend your time and like resources and money on if it's not on getting the things you want in life? You know, so yeah, my goal is not to die the richest man in the cemetery and lowly, you know, but the goal in life is like to maximize it. And in my mind, is like if I got the chance to learn something from someone that I respect or admire, and that person is alive, it's not like dead in a book or something, you know, and you need to like kind of it's like I can find the money to learn from that person. I will just do it. Maybe I learned like 1%, maybe I learned like 50%. It doesn't really matter. It's just like a piece of the puzzle that helped me to get my goals, kind of, you know. So yeah, we're all gonna die. So it's like the younger I learn things that are important to life, the better, you know. So when I took the first bootcamp, I think it was in Ukraine, like a few years ago actually. And and yeah, like before doing the bootcamp, I never did the bootcamp with you, you know, and I was like, yeah, also maybe thinking a bit, you know, about the investment, and it's like, okay, I don't know how it's gonna be, blah blah blah. But after we spent like a fucking full week together, one on one, and it was like so intense and so much feedback, it was like, bro, why the fuck I didn't do this before, you know? Because it's like you get the fast feedback, the progress, and you can experience that, you know. And for me, it's about not regretting things, you know. So if there's some like when I met you for first time, it was like, okay, I want to learn more from this guy, like back in Barcelona, you know, when we met first. So I don't
Yeah,
want to live a life of regret where I were right now in here like 6 or 7 years later, and I thought, oh, how would I always wanted to do that, but I never did it. How would it be? And you're like thinking inside, you know. So yeah, if I want something, I just go get it, you know, basically.
amazing. I like the mindset. So, what was the initial goal before you came to my coaching? Like you explained already the frustration that you were having and the situational confidence you were experiencing. But what exactly can you explain in words? Like who was the person you wanted to become, and how is did your ideal dating life look like that you wanted to achieve?
Yeah. So, yeah, the previous situation is what I just told you. It's like this situational confidence, you know, when I was like in learning all things about game, which were like very technical, very like techniques and like shit like this, you know, not the natural approach kind of. And my ideal situation, well, I'm gonna put you an example. Like, well, actually, we did like a this summer bootcamp here in Serbia. We met for a week in July or August, I don't know when, like in the summer.
August.
And just to put you in context, like let's say ideal dating life for me. So I was getting back to meeting new girls in the summer, you know, like because I was in a new country, blah blah blah. So be in a situation where like okay, I was going out like 1 hour a day or sometimes even less, being able to have easily 1 2 weeks, so 2 dates a week. I mean, it could be more, but I need to work, you know. So like having the confidence where you say, okay, like I was not meeting girls the previous months because I was like doing paperwork to get my residence here. But when I started going into like dating here and meeting girls, it was like, yeah, like having dates every week, easily having numbers, having relationships. Now I met like an amazing, say hi, Russian girl here in Serbia, and we have like an amazing connection. I'm enjoying this a lot, you know. And this just happened like in the first month and a half or two, where since I started like meeting girls here in Serbia and like taking action on the dating. So basically, it's like having control of this area. You know, it's like okay, I wanted to meet someone here in Serbia, and then of course you don't do it like instantly. It takes some time. You know, you need to go on dates, you need to find the right person. But having this sense of control where you say, hey, I know I'm any random country in the world, and for now I'm like, let's say I was not single, I was single back then, and then I want to meet someone, and the fact that you can do it and you have like the power to say, hey, I can meet someone I really like, I can have options, you know. And especially it's not just the goal but how you get to the goal, you know. It's like what person you become in the process. So basically it's in a complete different mental space from the person I was like a few years ago, you know, where you're like double thinking everything you say, not being spontaneous enough, having to think to overthink when you're communicating, or like certain situations when you approach someone you don't do it because you put excuses or like there's fear of rejection, you know. So it's the opposite example of like, wow, I can go anywhere, anytime. I'm present to the moment. I'm confident. It's not a big deal to talk to any stranger people, you know, like or any girl I want to meet or something. And not just that, but also finding like amazing relationship, you know. Because I mean, yeah, meeting girls, it's like okay, great, but at least for me, the point is also to have like someone that adds like a relationship that adds value to your life. You know, that's the nice thing of having like a romantic relationship is like you can have someone next to you where you can support each other. There's like this emotional connection, you know, and yeah, it's fucking amazing. Yeah. So if you told me a few years ago, like, yeah, it would be in Eastern Europe with like an amazing Russian girl next to you, you have an amazing connection, and you have like all these confidence issues resolved, I would be like, bro, where the fuck do I sign? You know. so so yeah, it's fucking amazing. Now, to be honest, I'm not thinking about it too much how is life now, but because I take it for granted a little bit that you get used to this situation, you know. But yes, years ago, it would be like kind of a dream, you know. The same way when I met you for first time, and you were like, "Bro, this guy so relaxed, so confident, like has no problems to meet anyone, you know." And he was impressive. So yeah, pretty fucking good, you know. It's been a long journey, but it pays off, you know. So
Amazing. Something that I remember when I met you for the first time is that you, in the end of the evening of that party, where we both were, that you asked me for feedback.
oh, in
And I
Barcelona,
really,
okay, yeah, yeah,
yeah, and I instantly remember like, okay, this guy is going to be very successful because he's asking questions.
yeah.
And that is something that all successful people have in common. Even the best clients that I've seen in my programs is the person has the most questions, they will always get the most success because they're so curious to improving themselves.
Yeah, and I would
Cool.
say that that is probably one of the ingredients to become good in social skills. It's to be curious to learn new things, like not just focus too much of I need to get X, Y, Z results, but like I want to improve my communication in general, you know? And then it's like, yeah, that's the reason I work with you. Like, oh, this guy knows something I don't, or has some traits in your personality I don't. I'm just gonna spend time with that person until I understand what makes like, or maybe I don't understand it, but I copy, you know, like and I just absorb it, kind of, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's curiosity aspect. It's so one of the things also trigger me always to like, okay, I'm gonna take bootcamp with this person, just for energy transfer, you know, like he has so many cool things, personality, and just gonna spend time, and some of them I'm sure they will be transferred to me, you know.
That's a good point that you give there. I always think that I always call it emulation. I think when you spend time with somebody, it's very easy that the energy gets emulated. You can just
Yeah.
see the person, see how he does things, how he communicates, and you can just look, I can say the same thing, I can do the same thing, I can use the same body language, and so on and so on. So
Yeah,
that's why I
yeah,
think the one on
exactly.
one week is super, super valuable because you have all the time to slowly emulate the person and to ingrain all the knowledge he's also sharing.
Exactly,
And there
because
goes
sometimes people can be expecting like, oh, so what do you learn? You know, like it's not like you get like a book with like 25,000 instructions, you know. Of course, there's like technical specific feedback you give to someone, but it's also the value, like part of the value of having like in-person coaching. It's just the fact that someone it's next to you spending time and being putting you 100% of attention on you, you know, and then you can put also 100% of attention on observing and seeing things, you know, and you can experience how is like this person's situation, how people react to him, how he reacts
like,
to people, you know, and like get all kind of social skills feedback, you know, ingrained
yeah,
in your subconscious.
yeah. And actually, my next question is a little bit about that. Could you explain in a very logical way how a one-on-one coaching week looked like for you? You took three, so maybe every experience was a little bit different. And also, how did the environment and the feedback you were getting and the accountability, how did that help you as well in the coaching?
Yeah. So yeah, the first bootcamp I remember it was in Ukraine. It was like two people, like me and a friend of mine. And then after I got that, it was like, bro, I need to take another one just for me. You know, like, this has been so good. And then we took like another one in Budapest, and then we've done here recently another in Serbia. And so I remember when we started doing boot camps, it was interesting start because you say always some sentence like, "Hey, bro, I'm gonna tell you a lot of things this week. Some of them you might agree, some of them you might not. Keep in mind, all of this is my opinion, you know. I might be correct, I might be wrong in some things, but it's gonna be my personal feedback, and I'm gonna make sure this is gonna be the most useful week for you, you know. So I like since the beginning of the book, like that kind of the honesty on your side, you know, like this thing also like, hey, bro, like I'm not Jesus, you know, like I'm not trying to sell you here, like yeah, you're gonna become a playboy in 24 hours, you know, like okay, yeah, this takes work, you know, this is like a long-term thing, it's not something you're gonna get like in a day. Of course this week is gonna accelerate like 100% more like times the speed at which you learn things, you know, like that honesty of things like of like setting the expectations of saying, hey, I'm gonna like tell you honestly everything I see, everything like, and sometimes, you know, for example, you were in Serbia like this summer, and you didn't tell me much feedback, like some things, yeah, you're being a bit lazy, do this, do that, you know, but like your honest feedback was like, yeah, I like two, three things, but not like crazy things, but like two, three important things, you know, two, three small details that were important. And maybe some years ago, there were like much more things to fix or to improve, right? So I like the honesty aspect of the bootcamp, you know, in terms of like, yeah, I'm just gonna tell you what I see, you know, and honestly, in that sense. So not trying to, yeah, to put like some, how can I say this? Some situation or some expectation of something that it's not realistic. It's like it's very honest feedback in that sense, you know, and that's also something very useful because sometimes when giving feedback to people, sometimes it can be like a bit uncomfortable, you know, like oh I don't want to like hurt their feelings or something like this, you know. But with you, it was one of the most honest feedbacks I ever got, not just in dating, but in social skills in general. So if we were in a restaurant or something and I did something strange with the waiter or like with some situation, you were telling me, hey, bro, this is fucking weird, you know, like don't do it, don't do this again, you know, or like just social awareness things that um, that most people maybe won't tell you. You know, so people usually don't share feedback. They just don't hang out with you again, or they don't invite you to the next plans. You know, because you were a bit weird doing something or whatever. Or same with women, by the way. Like if a woman doesn't like you, she's not gonna be texting you like a full 20-page message, you know, like, yeah, you did this, you did that, you were weird this way, she's not, just gonna fucking not reply to your messages or like, that's it, you know? So when you have this honest aspect, like honest feedback on like someone telling you the truth of what they truly think about you, you know, it really makes a big difference in your progress, you know, because you take like the ego aspect of like or this kind of thing of the equation, you know, and you can get like honest, real feedback from someone who truly wants to help you, you know. Um, and then with the experience of the bootcamps, yeah, I love that they're like one like very customized, you know, like the fact that you hang out together, you go out, like you have a lot of conversations, you have the chance to explain me a lot of your vision of how do you see relationships, how do you see how what's your philosophy towards life, toward women, toward attraction, toward relationships, you know. And many of I have like dozens of pages or voice notes that I was like taking notes of on how it's been your experience, because you've been like fucking 15 or I don't know how many years like doing this, you know. So for me, it was very useful that you have like so much experience in the field, not just with yourself, but also with other customers or students, you know. And getting all this direct feedback, it was like, again, it's like if you want to learn about physics and then you can have Newton alive next to you, you know, like you would fucking talk to him and ask him 1,000 questions, right? So for me, it's kind of similar, like, okay, this guy's still alive. It's not like, yeah, the past like myth, you know, that, oh yeah, he was the best guy with the dating in the world, blah blah blah, and then it's dead, and yeah, you maybe read the book like, oh, bro, the guy's still alive and he's still offering services. So I'm gonna like fucking take advantage of it, you know. And yeah, regarding the experience, so I mean, if you have more questions, ask. But it's amazing experience, you know. It's intense week. It's also exhausting because you're like going out a lot, getting a lot of feedback, you know. Maybe you're putting into tense situations sometimes, or like scary approaches, or like scary social situations where you need to break fears or like get out of your comfort zone, and it pushes you to the next level in that sense. In my experience, whenever I've seen like progress from bootcamps, it's been usually like 2 3 months later, and 1 2 3 years later. So of course in the bootcamp week it's super intense, and then what happens is like uh, or I keep taking action, or I keep having like daily situations in my social life, you know. And then I still keep coming back to the bootcamp, like, oh yeah, this is what I learned, or oh, this situation, Steph did XYZ, and then you got it in your mind, you know. So if someone wants to be serious with taking a bootcamp, my advice is always like, yeah, for sure, do it 100%. But you also need to keep taking action after, you know, because it's not enough if you just like take action a week and then you're like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna call my ex-girlfriend. Yeah, can we go back, please? You know, rejection is too painful. But it's more like, yeah, you get all this intense feedback, and then I just keep taking action, and then my life, my dating life, has always become better and better after bootcamp periods. You know, like better and higher quality relationships. You know, even better confidence bootcamp after bootcamp, and like and everything better. You know, and it's compound effect of like keep taking action after those bootcamps. So it's not just the bootcamp, but it's also like the things you do later. And I always so many times keep referencing back in my mind, like, oh yeah, I remember like that. Oh, we did that in that bootcamp, or whenever I'm talking to someone and they say to me, "Wow, you have a great vibe, great energy, blah blah blah," and I'm like, I start to think, "Oh yeah, I worked this thing with Steph, you know, like a few years ago." So, um, yeah, definitely super useful, but it's a bit of a long term thing. You're not gonna like solve everything instantly. You know, it's a process basically.
So you mentioned in the last bootcamp in Belgrade, I only gave you two, three simple but important feedbacks. Can you share something exactly what that was and how of a big difference that also made when you're meeting women?
Yeah, so in we did a bootcamp in Serbia this year, and well, actually, one of the things I wanted to do is we never did this in the past, and I always like was kind of my situation where I wanted to get feedback. So one of the things is like we met, we were talking to girls in the street that week, blah blah blah. And then I told you, bro, I'm trying to, I'm gonna get a date for this week. So you can come to the date and you can see me on a date because you never seen me on a date, you know. And I'm like, I'm curious to get your feedback in that sense. And so yeah, I took the approaches, I talked, sent 4 messages, get a date, and then you were like in the next sofa, you know, with the headphone hearing the conversation, and it was quite funny, you know. And that's one of the things where like this custom one-on-one feedback is like you can ask Steph to coach you in all the situations that you want, you know. Hopefully, I didn't need yet sex coach, so you don't need to be in the bed giving feedback. No, but just kidding. But the point is that situation on like being on a date and like getting that feedback in that situation precisely, not just like a short approach. It was like something I really wanted to do, and like when you have this one-on-one opportunity, you can ask, do whatever you want, you know. So that was a useful thing. One of the feedbacks you gave me in that week is like, bro, you're getting lazy, you know. It's like I was doing approaches when I before starting the bootcamp, you know, meeting girls. But I was being in a very big comfort zone, you know, kind of like just regular conversation, chill, relax, not putting a lot of effort, just like, okay, I'm gonna go, get number, have date, blah blah blah. Like not really with a clear intention of truly wanting to have an amazing connection. It was more like comfort zone approach, get number, go on date, like don't wanna I wanna work, I wanna go make money. So when you were there next to me, you were like, bro, this is fucking boring approach. You're being lazy. You're not trying to make it nice. You're just like, yeah, whatever. And so that feedback actually, and then like it made me remind me again of how important is when you're like interacting with people to make it epic, to make it fun, to connect again with those nice emotions inside you, and to offer the other person like a good experience. So that was one of the feedback in terms of like, making it fun, bringing the right emotions to the interactions, that helped me actually a lot, to get even better my connections with women back then. And that was one of the feedback. Another one was like in dates actually. Same feedback. Like I was being lazy, basically. Like I was like, yeah, 2 hour. Like we may. What do you do for dates? Like, yeah, chill. I don't worry. Like I go for a coffee, and then it's like 8 p.m. 2 hours. Okay, I'm gonna make. I need to work. I'm gonna make money. And then like, bro, like you are not getting your intention right. You're just like, yeah, like doing a boring job or something. Not actually like, are you gay or something? Do you enjoy girls, or like you just want to like check and go house? Like what the fuck are you doing? And it was funny because that you told me, yeah, bro, if you're gonna have a date, I book like 6 7 hours of my afternoon to spend with a girl on a date, because I I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna put the intention of like really enjoy this moment and make it epic. And then I was like, yeah, true. I'm being fucking lazy. Like I should like put a better intention to things, like do things with better like intention, kind of. And actually, I was like, I applied that feedback with this girl here. So I met her on the park once. It was like afternoon, yeah, afternoon something. It was 1 hour, 1 week after the bootcamp actually. And then I'm with a guy having a walk, and I see like a girl reading a book in a park, blah, blah, blah. And then we have like an Insta date for 30, 40 minutes. It was like an amazing connection. And the date we had later, like the next day, I was like, yeah, Steph feedback. Like, bro, it's not like 1 hour, okay, bye, I'm gonna work. It was like I booked my whole fucking afternoon, like a night, and it was like we went for a nice orange juice. Then we went for a walk like around the mountain part of Serbia. Then we went for like fucking dinner. Then we walk around more. Then like, well, we went to my apartment. We were like having a drink there, and it was like it was fun. It was epic, and I was like, bro, so much long time since I haven't got like these dates, like a fun day like this. I truly enjoyed. And of course, the connection was very good, but the feedback itself was more like, yeah, being engaged in the situations. It was like a small little feedback. It was like this thing, but it truly made me click again, like, and connect again with that version of myself that I was not being in that moment. So it was like an amazing feedback in that sense. And yeah, some other things, but yeah, those kind of things were some of the things we work on actually.
Amazing. Was there a moment that everything kind of clicked together and that you had like an idea of, okay, now I get it? Was there like a moment that you had that feeling after the boot camps or in the middle of a boot camp or
Mm. Well, I had that feeling like quite a few times working together, um, especially, after like, for example, I remember once in Budapest, it was so fun. I don't remember. We were like in the street or something, and then we went down to like a small club downstairs, like in the center.
I remember?
And there was like this like two girls or something. And I'm trying to remember exactly. Yeah, but one of these girls was like porn star type person, like this kind of vibes. And it was a situation where it was like you know, when you're in a club, like all this status thing, you know, and then this this like superstar seems like Hollywood celebrity or something, you know, and it's like you're thinking, okay, how the fuck I'm gonna pull out this approach, you know? uh, and it's funny because I don't know if we were like practicing makeouts or something, you know, like whatever. And then I tell you something like, bro, how can I kiss this girl in 1 minute or something like this, you know? And then I don't know, you I approached, and then you came later or something, and it was funny because after like 1 minute or something, we were like making out in the middle of like the bar, the club or something, you know, and because of the situation of the girl, the place, it was like for me like a big click in that moment. Where like, bro, what the fuck? Like, there's like a porn star type of, you know, Hollywood famous person here, you know, like probably hottest girl in the club in that situation. And I was like a bit, you know, like I don't know what to do here. It's like a weird situation, you know. But you know, we were with the momentum of the boot camp. You were like giving me the feedback and everything. And I remember it was like fun to me, like, bro, I just came to this club 1 minute ago, and I'm like kissing for 2 minutes with the hottest girl I just met like 1 minute ago, like literally, you know? So it was like quite a fun experience for me. I'm not saying that the goal of my life it's like to kiss random girls in a bar, like for like as a life achievement, you know? It's not like a big deal. But for me, that situation was like small click of like, bro, what does it mean? What does it look like to have clear mind and absolute presence in your body, you know, in your mind? Like, because we were talking about this situational confidence like years ago with all the technical pick and stuff, and then suddenly, actually, when I met you in Barcelona in 2018 or 2019, this is what you were doing. You were like literally creating massive attraction with like strangers in the first 20 seconds. And I remember once in a club in Barcelona, you were like, talk to a girl 2 minutes, kiss her, continue walking, see another girl you don't know, you start kissing with her, continue walking. I was like, I'm not. The important thing for me was not the kissing thing. It was like the person you become, like the conflict, like the mental space where you live in, where you can flow socially with like such like huge confidence in yourself, you know. And when I started doing in Budapest, that happened for me. That was like a click of like, whoa, 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 like I'm starting to get the level of presence that Steph had when I met him in Barcelona, you know. So it was a small story, small example of some of the things where you see like, wow, it's like I'm getting to a point where like my aura, let's say, my energy when I talk to people is like it's people trust me instantly, you know. And that's also, I mean, we're just talking about girls, blah blah, but like for me, this is way more important also when it comes to sales to business, you know, like the ability to create instant rapport when you're doing business partnership sales, you're closing a deal, you're selling something, or you're buying something, you want to get the best price, or you want to set up a partnership, or you want to not just money, but you want people to help you, or you want to provide value to someone, and you will create like relationships, you know, in life in general. It's so useful to be able to create instant rapport and like connection with people. And it might sound weird, but I trained this with cold approach, you know? Like and that moment in Budapest where I was like kissing like the hottest girl in the club that night, you know, in the most like weird, like uncomfortable situation in like small club, whatever. And it was like, bro, my aura is getting better, you know, like my energy, it's like getting better and better and better. And that was like one like small story, you know. Another story, for example, this was also in Budapest. We were like in a shopping center, I remember, and we I saw like a girl, like a bit like short girl, but like very very beautiful, you know. And you were like behind me, just like we went on an Insta date for 1 hour, and then I was like, one of the feedbacks also you gave me so many times, I forget, like, bro, make longer Insta dates. Don't just go for the number and leave. Like, go for Insta date, like continue in the interaction, right? Don't leave, don't eject the interaction. And yeah, we end up in my place that same afternoon. We met in the shopping mall, Insta day, then went to my house, and you were behind me all the time. So you, I was going to Budapest to my house after 2 hours with the girl I just met 2 hours before in the shopping center, and you were behind me, just like watching, you know, like walking behind, just observing the interaction. So for me, that was also like a nice story, you know, like wow, I just met someone 2 hours ago, and then we are together in my fucking bedroom. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, and that's also another example of. And again, I want to make the point that this is not the goal of life, just to, oh yeah, my achievement in life is like I had a relationship with a girl I met 2 hours ago. I mean, it's a nice story, but what is important on that is like what that means. What that means is that your social skills, that your confidence level, like the level of presence you have, the aura you get is like fucking great, like a good sign, healthy sign. And what I love about that is like that I can apply to all the areas of my life. When I'm meeting people, when I'm I don't know, when I'm in the gym or something, like I can be known in the gym, I can talk to anyone, people know me. When I'm in any other situation or making networking, making business, people trust you more, good aura, good energy. And those small stories are like a reflection of like things that happened, that it was like a click for me of like, oh, if these things are happening to me like way, way, way more often, it just means that my aura, my social skills are getting better. So yeah, a couple of stories, but there's a lot more, but just to put some examples.
Nice. I love these little breakthroughs. It's really interesting and also funny to look back at your own past. I have the same thing, and I also have seen you evolving so much over the years. So, and it's also something that I see with many of my clients is that they once they improve their social skills with women and in general with other people, they also start making more money in their business because, as you say, you get better at sales, you better building rapport with people, better at creating relationships, and so on. So, I have one more question for you, Javi. You wanted to say something?
Well, this is the point. Like, if you think about dating and sales are pretty similar things.
I agree. I agree. In both aspects, the personal social skills are super super important. So so my next question is this: if you would meet somebody, a man who wants to improve his dating life, his communication skills with women, and eventually wants to attract his girlfriend that he really really wants, but he's doubting about taking a coach or investing the time and the money in it, what would you tell him to not to persuade him, but just to inspire him so he would take the right action for his own dreams and goals?
Yeah. So for me, the answer is very simple. If you value more money than your time, then don't take any coaching. Like, learn it by yourself. And I know people who flex about it. Like, yeah, yeah, I didn't took any coach, this shitty coach, whatever. I did it myself, and it took me like 15 years, but I did it by myself. And they're like proud about it. And I'm like, okay, I don't judge that. I understand that this person values more their money than their time. And that's totally fine, but that's not me, you know? And usually, in my experience, people who value more time than money are people who are not confident that they're gonna make more money in their lives. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be making this money and I don't aspire to much more. So I gotta be careful not to spend it too much. Therefore, I rather take the slow path. And then there's other type of person, which is like, okay, I value more my time than my money. Because time is like, if someone told you, hey, bro, what do you prefer? Like $1 million, like a million, like $10 million and being like 70 years old, or like fucking $1,000 in your bank and being again like fucking 15. Probably you will choose like being young again, right? So in my case, I prefer much more my time than my money. And also, when you have that mindset, even you push yourself more to make more money, because you want to have more time, right? So for me, it's just coaching. It's a way to buy time, basically, which is the most scarce, unlimited asset human beings have. So, yeah, that's basically the reason. There's no other, like, for me, explain like needs for deeper explanation. Like, okay, you prefer time than money, like, of course, fucking get someone who's been like 15 years doing this, who's got like crazy experience, who's like extremely good with women. And of course it's gonna be useful for you to spend time with that week. Like, there's no questions about it. Like, if you spend like one fucking week with like I don't know, like fucking Jordan Belfort, on his fucking office doing sales calls, of course you're gonna get way, way, way better with sales. So it's kind of obvious, like, that if you are with someone who's been like amazing with women, having coaching like customers for years, 15 years of experience, your social skills are going to be benefit. That's going to impact all the areas in your life. That's going to also help you make more money. That's going to also help you build better relationships. That's going to also make you more confident, enjoy more life, um, meeting better women, whatever is important to you. Of course, it's going to help you. The question is, do you prefer having more money or having more time and better life? And most likely,
Hmm.
more money will come later after that. You know what I mean? Because if you become better, also money will follow. Money follows value. So if you become a more valuable person in the social aspect, of course, more opportunities will come to you. So that's my
Yeah.
reflection. That's a choice for me whenever I make an investment. It's like, okay, money or time. And sometimes I choose money because something is like, okay, I can do it by myself and it's gonna be short. It's like, but if something is like a bit more challenging and it takes more feedback, more effort, and I know I can learn a lot from someone, of course, then time is more important.
Yeah, amazing. It's actually something that most of my clients have in common. They would always say, like, I wish I took your coaching before, because people often make the same mistake in communicating with women in communication and cold approach in particular. So yeah, sometimes the simplest things we don't really see it because we have a lot of blind spots basically. So we always do the same thing and we expect a different result, but it doesn't really work that way. So yeah, thank you. I really like your answer. So thank you for this testimonial, Javi.